listening to The Review on the OSG Sports Podcasting Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Review. It's the Online Sports Guys College Football Podcast featuring us, the Online Sports Guys. And at the time we are recording this, folks, we are down to the 2-week countdown for the kickoff for the college football season. The recording here is being done on August the 10th. The season kicks off on the 24th. Yes, college football is near. Can you feel it, smell it, taste it? It's all there. And guys, we got a lot to talk about this week. We'll do some previews. We'll talk about some of the news of the week. But before we get too deep into that, I got to start with one of Marty's favorite topics, and that's the University of Michigan.
I'm just going to lay back and let Marty go. We'll see. We'll be back for the B block in about 20 minutes.
Because I don't care.
Are you saying there's something odd with a guy that says, live your life right, drink milk, don't cheat, be honest?
Take your vitamins, say your prayers, brother.
I'm not saying anything's odd that he lost 3+ games in each of his first 6 seasons. And I don't know, maybe went 0 for 5 in his first 5 games against Ohio State. And then 2019, 2020, he went a combined 11-8.
I did nothing wrong not leaving for the NFL and not coming back.
He ducked. Oh, we'll see what happens when he wears thin there. But he ducked Ohio State during his 2-4 COVID season. The team was so sick they couldn't play, but then they post videos on social media of themselves practicing on that date.
Of course.
Tone deaf. Let's see what happened here. Michigan cut his pay in half and reworked his contract.
Mm-hmm.
And then he hires a guy named Connor Stallions. And then his record changes.
There'll now be a movie made as we watch.
Oh my goodness.
In the bathroom.
But he is going to be an honorary team captain for their home opener.
Which is good. And it may be the last time he appears at Michigan because he's now sitting out a 4-year show cause penalty for
and a 1-year suspension. So if somebody does hire him, he's got to sit a year. So
that ain't going to happen.
No.
He's never come back to college football. He's done everything he wants to do in college football.
Well, he's kind of worn out his welcome in college football as well. I mean, it's crazy. He said he did nothing, and then people are saying, he's getting suspended. This suspension's over a cheeseburger. No, it's over stupidity related to a cheeseburger. He flat out cheated during the COVID dead period. They said, you're not allowed to recruit. You're not allowed to have people on campus. So he tells one of his guys who reported this to the NCAA, go to the line and cross it. Do whatever you got to do. He takes a father and son on a tour of the stadium, on a tour of the weightlifting, the whole 9 yards, takes him to a restaurant for breakfast, doesn't pay for it himself, makes a staffer pay for it, who turns in the damn receipts. That's why they're making fun of the hamburger, because he had a hamburger for breakfast, and he brags about that in press conferences. He doesn't like chicken because it's a nervous bird, and then he likes burgers for breakfast. But they've literally got receipts of him doing this. They also had the father and the son say, yeah, we met with him during COVID dead period. And he's denying all this stuff happened.
You can only get in trouble if you get caught.
I don't care about all that stuff, but stop being full of shit. Stop lying.
There's the explicit rating for the show, and we've only been in a...
Yes. Hey, Bobby Boucher would have nothing less.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't check the this is for kids box.
No,
we never do anyway.
No. I was trying to find my Keenan Allen jersey that somebody got me one year.
Oh, phew. Maybe nervous. I thought you were going to the bathroom back there.
No. I was trying to find quoting our buddy Lee Hamilton, show me your lightning bolt. And I was trying to find something that was for my Chargers that I could sit here and show on the video version, but I couldn't find my Keenan Allen jersey, and my Charger hat is upstairs in the other office. So, yeah. On
a totally unrelated subject, you're probably the only LA Charger fan I know.
Actually, I know one too.
Look, when
that makes two.
when you grow up with Fouts and Muncie and West Chandler and Charlie,
No. L.A. Charger.
oh, screw that. Sorry.
Because I got friends in San Diego that turned in their Charger fandom.
Oh no.
And they
Well,
moved.
all right. So then I'll go back. I'll go back even further and just talk about John Hadel. How about that? I'll do
Sure.
that as a part of the discussion. But no,
Number 21 in your heart.
as the Charger fan here in this discussion, since Marty has discussed all of the college stuff, Captain Khaki has basically decided not to answer the question. I've done no wrong. I don't, the whole plausible deniability element of the whole thing. And now I'm stuck with him as a pro football coach. And he's like sleeping on folks' floors and, standing on tackling dummies with linemen and wearing khakis all the time. I have to put up with this ish now. And I couldn't be any less thrilled about it because of just how odd a duck he is in the first place. And now everything that has been said by the NCAA, he's so not going back to college. I mean, like literally, and his lawyer coming out and basically sitting there and taking the index finger and pointing it out forward. Why if I'm Captain Khaki, I can't even mention him by name. Why, if you are Captain Khaki, would you even want to go back to coach college football? Because look,
you wear out your welcome where you're at.
It's like $60 million are telling me, I'm good. I don't have to go back. Show cause, all of that stuff to me. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't have to go back.
He's also in his early 60s, so why would he?
Done.
Well, why have a low-level staffer pay for your meal when you're a millionaire? Oh, yeah. So you can have a receipt and get busted for it.
Mm-hmm.
Moron.
So what I'm getting from the story, John, is Jim Harbaugh is to you is what Bobby Petrino is for me. We had with the Falcons, then he takes over Arkansas. As I bleed Razorback red. I have to deal with him when he was at Louisville, when I was doing the ACC gig. And then he leaves in disgrace, takes over my alma mater, Missouri State, as a head coach. Actually had a couple winning playoff seasons.
He's your
And
official
now
albatross.
He's back in Arkansas as offensive coordinator.
He is.
As I said a long time ago, I can't shake the guy.
Does he still got motorcycle?
Probably.
You can shake off him though.
Yeah.
So welcome to my world, John.
Yeah. So I mean, it's literally he is Cassius or Brutus in Little Rock in Fayetteville now, waiting for Caesar.
Don't you dare call him Brutus.
No.
But fine. He's Cassius waiting for Caesar in Fayetteville right now.
Oh yeah, and it's not if he ever becomes the head coach there. It's just when.
Yeah, and I mean
he'll never be the head coach there.
Instead of cold beers, it's probably Zima.
He probably doesn't. He doesn't want that responsibility anymore. He's had his day in the sun as a head coach. I think he likes being an offensive coordinator.
I think the man's EGO can't keep him from an opportunity.
No, I don't see it happening.
Speaking of bad coaches, do you think when they dropped the second hammer for the actual cheating stuff, not the COVID dead period stuff?
Yeah.
I was about to get to.
How hard do you think they're going to hit Sharon Moore? Because the ESPN leaked draft of the allegations has him listed by name, along with a few other guys that are still on staff.
Yeah,
the few that didn't join the Charger coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
You mean the NCAA?
Mm-hmm.
You mean the NCAA?
Yep.
Yeah. Who? What?
Again, I don't think they have the juice to do it anymore. Because now you're going to be in lawsuit hell.
I was going to say there will be billable hours. It doesn't matter what you say.
Oh, every decision that's made
billable
now, it's all about billable hours.
Yeah,
well, yeah, but like Harbaugh doing stupid stuff, he deleted text messages at the exact same time the news dropped. Then he didn't empty the trash folder, so they recovered them.
30 years ago, the program's probably on 4 years probation and off of bowls for 4 years and no national TV for 3 years. Not in this era.
Oh no, the program.
I mean, it wasn't all that long ago. Ohio State had the stuff with Tressel, and they go 12-0 the next year, and had a postseason ban.
Mhm.
You know, what's
The
his name?
program said-
What's the clown from ESPN? Desmond Howard. He said, Tressel's suspension should go to the NFL. Like, I haven't heard a word from him since any of this stuff dropped.
Again, Ohio State fan talking here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying,
Well, I mean, the reference to Desmond Howard.
Yeah.
unlike Michigan, Ohio State actually self-reports every year. Small stuff that most people would not self-report, and they still do.
To get to what Wilkie was talking about, though, I do think, while the program itself, yeah, the NCAA really can't do much of anything to them. I think some individual coaches are going to pay the price for this one. It's just a matter of what that price is.
Oh boy. I think more
They may not be able to do much more than slap them on the wrist. They're not going to show cause. They're not going to kick them out for 4 years like they did Harbaugh or anything like that, even though it appears, at least on the surface, yeah, everything kind of does track through the new head coach at Michigan. But
Well, I mean, it's not going to happen, guys. We're in a different era now, and it's almost like the NFL. There's no owners of these programs. So I guess the presidents of the universities would be considered the owners, and they're not going to make the move because they're academics and they understand the marketing aspect of having a big time football program.
that's why I say
Until you have a strong commissioner over the sport of college football that has these kind of powers, all these things we were talking about ain't going to happen because you're in lawsuit hell, and presidents of universities don't want to go through that, and their legal teams don't want to go through that.
It's open season on cheating then, because I mean, if you cheat so
Exactly.
blatantly
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so poorly, I mean, you do public receipts on Cash Apps to pay people to go to games and record them. Like,
Until you
Lord.
get a strong commissioner of the sport, this is going to happen. This is what's going to happen. You don't have we don't have an ownership group that run these college football programs. You got presidents of universities that sponsor them.
bring
And they
back
see
Nick
the
Saban as the
value-
sports czar of college football.
I mean, what you guys are talking about is the NCAA of 30 years ago, and that doesn't exist anymore. So
I do think that
so it's going to be up to ESPN and Fox to find him.
you won't be on TV.
I do disagree in the fact that I think that the NCAA has the ability to levy punishments against individual coaches.
They can flap their
they
gum.
do, but
Like-
they don't want the legal challenges, and it's going to be significant legal challenges now.
What if they relegated him to the Pac-2?
You get West Coast kickoffs. I mean,
or NAIA?
the NCAA, what I'm anticipating is that they may sit there and give suspension from hell. It'll be a lengthy suspension. It'll be like over the top number, and then it'll go to billable hours, and then it'll get reduced. And so the NCAA can sit there and say, well, we tried and we've negotiated it down to this point. So I think that any names from this point forward, they're going to get those big punishments at least announced as such. But then when billable hours come into play, I think everything gets minimized, and it won't be, well, we think it's best for the sport. We think it's best for the university and for the young men that are trying to be a part of college football on Monday through Saturdays. And so we decided, in the best interest of insert university here and their conference and college football in general, that the punishment can be at this level, and that the university will have learned their lesson. Insert university here.
Bull ban him. Did you see the comments Sonny Dykes made this week? He's like, if Ohio State wouldn't have gave us the heads up before a playoff game against them, we wouldn't have won it.
Maybe. But remember too,
For what?
he did sit for 3 games last year.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. The 3 first games.
Yeah. Those.
Oh, he also sat the 3 last games, but he could talk to him up until an hour before kickoff. Yeah, that's a suspension.
Yeah. That's still suspension. You got
Jesus.
that. Yeah. That was not what we refer to as an actual suspension.
That's like timeout instead of spanking somebody.
Go into your corner. Go to your room.
But I digress.
Yes. Changing the subject only mildly here, I'm going to move on to
Come on.
an interesting lecture by Coach Dion. His news conference on Friday got a little testy.
Yeah.
This is our insufferable block of coaches between Arkansas's former coach, Michigan's former coach.
He didn't want to talk about chemistry. He didn't want to talk about the problems that his team had. He just wanted to be lobbed softballs.
Did he talk about the video department doing poor job editing?
Nope.
Oh my God. They post a video called Throwing Darts, and it's obviously a different play where the guy catches the ball. Like you see the ball about to go over the receiver's head, and it cuts to two receivers celebrating after catching the ball.
Mm.
Like it was so bad, every single college put out their own version of it.
Mm.
The Vandals, one of our unsung teams that you never see on TV, even did one where the ball is thrown inside their indoor practice facility and then somebody catches it outside during a bowl game. But continue with the showman.
They started a viral trend. There's something to be said for that in this era of social media.
This is true. We might have to do our own version where I throw John a football, but Phil catches it.
Oh, there you go.
And then Wilkie spikes it in an end zone somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not hard to do. That's not hard to do at all.
No.
We'll use different color footballs too. Just to
even better. There you go. Okay, so so apparently Dion has an issue with CBS. Don't know why. And so the local CBS guy, he mentions that he's CBS Denver. And Prime goes, CBS, I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question. It got nothing to do with you. This is above that. It ain't got nothing to do with you. I got love for you. I appreciate you. I respect you. It ain't got nothing to do with you. They know what they did. I'm here, and the reporter comes back, I'm here in Denver, not national. Dion goes, you are who you are. CBS is CBS. And then Dion says he told the reporter he respects him, but has an issue with the larger organization. So apparently something on the national level is where Dion has the issue with CBS.
Dion's been in the business enough to understand there is a big difference between the national and the local.
And so he says, I got love for you, but what they did was foul. And, the USA Today said, was it because they recently ranked him as the second worst coach in the Big 12, or was he mixing CBS up with somebody else that might have published a story one way or the other? University spokesman said he didn't know what Dion's issue with CBS is. The Denver CBS affiliate, KCNC and CBS Sports, did not return messages to USA today as they were trying to do the story. Dion's been on 60 Minutes, been on CBS Mornings to promote his book. CBS Colorado hosts the Coaches Show. And then he had an issue with Pat Narduzzi.
So he's beefing with the people that air his Coaches Show.
Apparently so. At least they did
lock him out.
I don't know if KCNC is going to be doing the Coaches Show this year. I don't know if that was part of the deal, but yeah. He says it ain't got nothing to do with local, but CBS is CBS, and so it's a blanket assessment. Pat Narduzzi criticized Dion after the overhauling of the roster. Dozens of players left the program after Sanders said he was bringing in his own luggage. And so some folks are saying that Dion was cutting players like he was running an NFL team, though he has noted many left voluntarily. So
and not even telling some of them in person.
Yeah. So Narduzzi said it looks bad on college football coaches across the country. The reflection is on one guy right now, but when you look at it overall, those kids have moms and dads and brothers and sisters and goals in life. And so Dion said, first of all, I want to digress a bit and thank the head coach of Pittsburgh for really preparing those young men for us. There were 2 transfers that came from Pitt that are now a part of what's going on in Boulder.
They're good players too.
Dayon Hayes and Samuel Okunlola. Dion said he did a great job. I love those 2 young men. They're really great players, going to be pros. Thank you, Pittsburgh. I appreciate everything. God bless you. And so Narduzzi had his own issues with players leaving. So Dion could be interpreted as making Pitt seem like a farm team for Colorado. And
it's not a farm team.
And then he goes
Pitt's
after
got better facilities.
And then he went after Sean Keeler of the Denver Post because Dion said he wished him. Apparently, Sean Keeler wished Dion a happy summer. And Dion said, "You don't like us, man. Why do you do this to yourself?" And Keeler goes, "Come on." and Keeler's written critical commentaries. Deion says, "Why do you always on the attack? What did we do? What happened to get you like this?" And Keeler goes, "That's a good question." Sanders goes, "No, I'm serious because I want to help because it's not normal." And Keeler says, "We can talk about it." Keeler tried to steer the conversation away from him. Keeler says, "Can I ask you a football question seriously?" Deion said, "No, we can talk about that when we talk about that. I talk about that with you." And remember, last year Colorado was 4-8. They got the hot start and they were on a lot of TV games, but then they fizzled out after the first month of the season. They were 1-11 the year before Deion came in, 4-8 last year. And so Deion is not really making friends early on in year number 2.
What's that they say about don't poop where you eat? So he's got no friends on TV or on print.
Yeah.
So that's a
Not
lot
like
to
he's-
absorb
Mm-hmm.
and take in.
Not like he's going to stay there after his kid graduates anyway.
Boulder's beautiful in January.
Folsom Field, yes, it is.
Balshamfield's a great setting, actually. The whole thing with Pitt puzzles me because Pitt's got better facilities in Colorado, in my opinion. When you get to train with next to an NFL team, that's kind of cool. What I see there is, Pat Narduzzi's old school. His dad was a legend at your school at Youngstown.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Narduzzi. Very, very Rust Belt type of football.
They lost to Youngstown last time they played, I think.
I think they did too. But you get what I mean. I mean, he comes from that old school college football, raised by his dad, who coached that way. And you got Delon,
blue collar, keep your
yes,
word
thank
kind
you.
of person.
Exactly, blue collar. Loves the big linemen and big running backs and basic offense and physical defense. And you got Deion Sanders, who's the other way. It's put on a show, baby.
Trying to get his son drafted high.
Exactly. So you've got two different philosophies that are button heads, in my opinion, and this is the end result of those heads being butted, and players not wanting the blue collar and wanting more of the flash and dash and Boulder. Hey, I like both kinds of football.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of how I see how that's playing out.
Just be genuine.
Got another topic for you guys before we hit halftime here as we kind of close in and wind down the first half here on the review. The SEC still may adopt a mandatory rule about injury reporting for the 20.
Good luck.
According to a report on CBSSports.com, it was discussed at the spring meetings, and they haven't made a final decision yet, but it's pretty close to it. The only two teams in the SEC that have done reporting in advance of their games is LSU and Florida. The other teams consider it an industry secret or whatever kind of paranoia response that would have to.
Seriously though, this falls into the Nunya for me. I mean, make it like the Stanley Cup. I don't care. People are going to have their intel. They're going to know what's going on anyway. Look, make it like the Stanley Cup and the Stanley Cup playoffs. We always see lower body injury, questionable. Lower upper body injury. I mean, we can all figure it out.
Is there ever a middle body injury?
I would hope that in a lot of cases that you don't have a middle body injury.
Yeah,
they're going to go even more vague and just see a lineman.
Yes. Or what we get in news when police give us a report about an incident that happened when they say somebody's in stable condition.
Stable, serious.
What does that mean?
They're
slightly
stable.
above, not dead.
Yes, stable, serious.
They're not healthy, but they're not dead. That's all.
They're lying flat on their back.
They're they're extremely sleepy.
They're sleepy. Yeah.
Getting drowsy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what this is all for, though.
Oh, it's for the bettors.
Exactly.
They already have that info anyway.
Yeah.
Look at the line will tell you how many people are injured.
Yeah, it is something that is fine. You want to mandate those kinds of things.
Well, it's done in the Big Ten. They do it.
But-
They're required to.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the specificity of said injury report, I'm sure, is just
Specificity and accuracy.
yes. So
Words, John.
look, I mean, look, just do what you're gonna do. People know the information and how to get the information anyway. So it just doesn't matter. Quoting Bill Murray and Meatball. It just doesn't matter.
Greg Sankey wants a cut of the gambling market.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he's going to get it anyway. So, look, just if you're going to say something, if you're going to say that it's mandatory to report injuries, fine. Be as vague as possible because we can all get to the bottom of it anyway. It's
There's going to be 5 walk-ons on the injury report.
Yeah.
No more walk-ons.
Well, it'll be like your dudes 99 through 105 on your roster. They'll be the ones listed in the injury report. Possible, probable, something like that. It will not be specificity.
55 likelies.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
go with your hockey phraseology, healthy scratches.
Yes. Healthy scratches.
That can be taken 2 ways.
Careful now. Careful there, cowboy.
Just
Yeah.
you might end up seeing that Wisconsin lineman that went viral for using a little too much Gold Bond.
Nothing. Hey, look, nothing wrong. Look, if he's healthy and he's safe, then look, it made for a funny video, and those of us who have the mind of a 12-year-old got a good out of it. It was great.
I just kept thinking of Woody Hayes 5 yards in a cloud of dust.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
Guys, I got one more thing here that I got to mention before we get to the second half, because I think we want to go into some conference previews when we hit the second half. But did you see that Florida International has a new name on its football stadium?
Pitbull Stadium.
But do you call it the Pitbull Pen?
God.
Why isn't Mr. Worldwide Stadium?
That
has a better ring to it.
That's a good question. And the other part of that question is, does that mean all the ushers and people around the stadium that work there are going to have to wear white sport coats with black Oxford shirts on?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Look, if
I want to see an 86-year-old usher all decked out in that.
Oh, and you know that Mr. Worldwide would absolutely.
Oh my God! Now I want Usher to do the same thing, just so you could have ushers.
See, there you go.
That'd be great. They got to do that for the Pop-Tarts Bowl because they're the only ones that'll do it right.
Oh man. Well, all right. So hang on.
It's too bad Elton John doesn't have a stadium, and the ushers had to wear his outfits.
Well, no, I mean
you could do it in New York.
Shareholder
like Benny and the Jets is entry music. Oh.
Yeah, you could do it. You could do it at Watford, and because he's a shareholder there. So just at Watford Stadium, just have him do it there. Hang on just a second. Okay, so I'm trying to find out what HBCU usher is tied to, and then that way we can figure out where, what particular school could have ushers. That's let's see.
What about Timu sponsoring FAMU?
Sponsoring what?
Florida A&M University with Timu, the Chinese distributor of low-price goods.
There you go.
Does that mean the stadium would fall apart if you actually sat in it?
Yeah, or it would be the wrong. It'd be the
just order another one. It's cheap enough.
Seat would be the wrong size.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to order it a month out, though.
Yes. Let's see. So North Springs.
Some assembly required.
Yes. North Springs High School. And
or tickets would get you into the wrong arena.
Yeah, it's like the wrong section. It's like your printed ticket. You thought that the printed ticket that you got in the email had you in section 103, and your ticket ends up in like section 301, something like that.
Yeah, the Timu jokes write themselves, Marty.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
I've gotten some decent stuff there, though.
Yes. So, all right.
I did get my Jackie Moon jersey there.
Hey, there you go. So apparently there's only a tie to North Springs High School here in Atlanta. I don't see a collegiate tie, but yeah. So at Thermopylae on a Friday night, you'd have ushers. So there you go.
I'm down with it.
There you go. Time to go to break.
And on that note, I think I'll take us to halftime here, guys. When we come back in the show, it's preview time, folks, because we are counting down to the beginning of the college football season. Yes, it's that time of year. Stay tuned, everybody. We will be back here in just a couple of minutes.
Please like and subscribe.
All right.
Over here in the OSG sports side of things, we talk football. FOOTBALL. College football version here with the college football review every single week. But for those of you that like not just football with two O's, but football with a U, FUTBOL, there's the Soccer Down Here Network. I'm John Nelson. I host the morning show on Soccer Down Here along with Jarrett Smith, Nick Alifi, Jason Longshore. And if you're looking for the best information when it comes to the world of soccer, based in the southeastern United States, but we don't leave anything off the table. 9:05 Eastern time until 11 whenever. Sometimes we go for a while. SDH Network morning show, soccer's morning show, Monday through Friday, plus all the live events we do. It is your place and your source for soccer that is based in the Southeast, but covers everything on the world. SoccerDownHere.net, the Soccer Down Here app, available iOS and Android through our friends at Spreaker. That's like speaker with an R in the middle. Spreaker, do a search for OSG Sports. Do a search for Soccer Down Here. All the soccer content all in one place. It is the SDH Network and Soccer Down Here.
Thanks for sticking around, folks. You have made it to the second half of the show. You, of course, are listening to the review here with us, the Online Sports Guys. As we talk college football in the first half, we kind of talked about some news of the last week or so. And time where we get to talk about previews because, as we said in the first half, we ain't far away from the season kickoff, folks. And if you want to know what's going on, this is the place to be.
I've been playing college football for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, guys, we're going to.
Who are you playing? Who are you in EA 25?
I have just been playing random matchups with. I'm trying to find a very good build a team of Youngstown State.
Okay, because I thought that's what the direction you were going, but I didn't know if you were playing it.
I've been playing here and there, depending on nephew availability.
I've been doing the random stuff too. My son has building his own team with like 4 or 5 of his buddies, and they're all group of 5 teams, and he got the University of Wyoming.
Okay. Jason is playing Georgia State, and Jared is playing Kennesaw State. So,
okay,
I haven't built a team yet.
There's one FCS team that is crazy good though, the Wolves.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, like I might have to get a jersey of that one. Like they show up ranked, not just the same as the other ones, but like they're kind of talented.
Yes, they
The
are.
Woofs.
The Wolves, yes.
The Wolves.
No,
I heard about that.
WOLFS. Woofs.
Whoops.
Oops.
So where do you want to start, Phil?
We want to start alphabetical because we want to try to keep things coordinated and in order.
Okay, so then that means by October we'll make the SEC, right?
Probably. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and start with that Atlantic Coast Conference because they're the ones with the A.
They're the ones with the lawsuit too.
I was gonna say, to double check, has anybody left yet?
Yeah.
Before, so we don't talk about them accidentally.
Still, everybody
As of right now, they're intact.
Okay.
everybody that was in the ACC a couple weeks ago is still there.
Just checking.
And everybody in the ACC is probably looking down on the 2 teams who kind of are the primary, would be the first ones to go if anybody left, and that's Florida State and Clemson.
Power to the turquoise, brother. That's how it goes.
Florida State coming off a really, really good season in 2023.
Thanks for the reminder of the bowl game too. That was great. That was fantastic.
Looking very strong, and ironically, their quarterback this year appears to be somebody who played spent some time playing football. Ironically, at Clemson,
Mm-hmm.
That would be DJ Uiagalelei.
on his team in 4 years. Looking to replace Jordan Travis at Florida State. If you ask me, Florida State's a team that could make a good run this year. I know John will kind of cringe at that, but you're talking definitely a college football playoff team if everybody stays healthy and moves forward. And a team that, like I said, could make a run to semifinals. Your guys' thoughts on this?
October 5th, when Clemson and Florida State play in Tallahassee. That determines who is going to be the ACC representative in the college football playoff.
Yep.
Because they're 1-1A in the league. Clemson's rebuilt themselves nicely.
You don't
Back
think
to
Without the transfer portal.
without the transfer portal and with
one of those teams at 11-1 doesn't have a chance of getting in?
Clemson,
Either one of them.
Well, there's
Again-
going to be like 4 SEC teams in.
I know it depends on
Regardless.
what depends on what the committee's been told to do.
Yeah.
I would be under the assumption that it's a one big league. So I think October 5th in Tallahassee is when that will be decided. Now, people remind me, yeah, there's going to be a championship game played. Well, they may not be playing in that championship game because I really like NC State this year for a change because Dave Doran's got to win more than 7 games. He's been there forever.
Yeah, and then
7, 8 years.
he threatens to leave when he's on the up end of a scale, and then NC State's front office is like, "Oh, okay, we'll give you a contract extension." He's the Gus Malzahn of the ACC. Let's face it.
True, but I really like how this team's made up, and they've gone into the transfer portal and made themselves much better. So if you're looking for that third team, I think it's North Carolina State. And that's why I think it'll be a one bid league because I think they will be that representative since we don't do divisions anymore. That'll be in the title game. They do have Clemson on their schedule, but no Florida State. So, and they got a pretty manageable schedule. I think the toughest game is probably at the end, besides Clemson, when they go to Chapel Hill to play Carolina. And what I think is one of the most chippiest in-state rivalries I've ever witnessed. But I really like the makeup of that team.
Interesting. I also find it interesting that Clemson, for all their reputation for being that powerhouse team, they got to start their season in Atlanta against the Georgia Bulldogs.
Good luck.
Yeah, might not be the best way to start the season and get it off on a positive note.
This is
Yeah,
where
take the L.
But it won't hurt them.
because it's early and it's non-conference, and you're going up against the presumptive, a presumptive at the very least Final Four member, if not a championship returnee.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, so now this would be where you insert the Price is Right loser horn for Clemson in the boom, 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 boom against Georgia. But yeah, I mean, because it's so early, this is when you want to schedule those non-conference games against high-quality opponents because you have the opportunity to build your way back up into standings and all those kinds of things that people don't pay attention to anymore.
Well, I think, again, NC State did a great job in the transfer portal. They got Grayson McCall. We all know what he did at Coastal.
Ooh.
And I think he's going to be
That's a good
fit. He's going to fit really well in that NC State offense. I love the fact how they built a receiving core. And then their schedule, to me, they got a tough one in Charlotte against Tennessee. That could go either way. They got Florida State. That game is, I'm not sorry, Florida State, Clemson at Death Valley. Okay, those are 2 tough ones right there, but they get them early. And then when you've got like Northern Illinois and Western Carolina, and then your league games are against Wake and Syracuse and Cal and Stanford and Duke. Duke's going to be pretty good, but I think
They're
that
playing
game's
in football,
Raleigh.
right?
I'm talking football.
Okay.
Really, it's that game against Carolina at the end in Chapel Hill that is one of those that could make or break the pack.
They're going to play. They're going to play Cal and Topeka, right? Midpoint.
Wichita.
There you go. We'll play them at the
Again, I kind of like how things are falling into place for the Wolfpack. But
That's a
again,
nice schedule.
we'll talk all day about Clemson, Florida State, NC State, whoever else we think, but how are you going to get down the field? And this might be an entirely different conversation in late November, but right now I like the Wolfpack, and I think whoever wins that Clemson Florida State game in October will be their opponent.
A couple other intriguing teams in the ACC this year: Virginia Tech and Louisville. Louisville play first year under Jeff Brom last year, made it to the championship game somehow, and returns most of their players. It could be really interesting to see how that plays out. But what I'm curious for you guys, Virginia Tech finished really strong last year. They won 5 of their last 7 games. They won their bowl game, and most of the players on that team come back.
I work with a guy at the middle school I teach at now who played for Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech, still closely tied to Virginia Tech. And he's excited. They love Brett Pry there. He's instilled a lot of the philosophies that went away of Frank Beamer that went away when Justin Fuente was there. Recruiting focus is back on the Hampton Roads area of Virginia, where Frank Beamer basically owned. He could get any player he wanted. So they've gone back to basics in Blacksburg. They finished strong last year, and there's a lot of optimism there. I think they're middle of the road right now, but this is a program that's on its way back, and they've got the right guy in place now in Blacksburg. And as far as Louisville, look what Jeff Brom did at Purdue. Now Purdue's kind of settled back into the bottom of the Big Ten, but this guy can coach, and any quarterback in the country wants to play for him. And receivers, 5-star receivers, want to play for him, and he's in a perfect spot. He's home. Louisville is a type of program that'll spend whatever it can to outdo Kentucky and to compete in the ACC as long as they're in the league. Those are 2 programs right now, probably more middle of the road. Maybe Louisville's a little bit ahead of Virginia Tech, but 2 fine programs they're gonna ruin somebody's season this year.
They're fine. I mean, look. I mean, because of the added traffic with all the new clubs, you're trying to put 10 pounds into a 5-pound bag now, and I think that the clubs that were middle of the road, now they're middle of the road with more traffic, and so they're going to have to work that much harder to try and be those B+ players that that I think some folks are looking at them being. But no, I just think that you look at those 2 that you mentioned, Phil, and I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, 7-5, 8-4, okay. Then you go to a middling bowl and you're there, but you've got more folks that you have to fight now with the new ACC. You've taken the Mr. Clean, you sat there and you took it to the table and you kind of cleaned everything off, and it's like, oh, look at the shiny table. But yeah, this is still the same old table. It's just cleaner now. So yeah, I look at those 2 and I'm like, 7-5, 8-4. We'll see what happens. Build and keep building, basically.
Yes. Speaking of new teams or the growing ACC, what do you guys think are going to happen for Stanford and Cal, both newcomers to the Atlantic Coast Conference, even though they're on the West Coast?
You mean those colleges that border the Pacific?
Yes.
Playing in the Atlantic. Okay.
That would be those.
Yeah.
Going to be tough sledding. It will not be pretty. But I am looking forward to seeing those games being played at Wichita State University. Find that midpoint, sit there and play. Maybe go to Gerald R. Ford, Amon Carter when SMU and TCU aren't playing. Go to those.
That is the home of the ACC network now. They are building quite the facility there.
So you just play a home game at the home of the new ACC network, master control and punchability. So do it there.
They've moved over.
It actually kind of makes sense.
Oh, no doubt.
There's a couple of stadiums in this area.
Yeah, and there are a couple of professional leagues that play all their games in your areas. Why not?
We play football and soccer fields too.
I think of the 3 new schools, SMU probably has the more long-term success than Cal and Stanford. We all know that college football in the Bay Area is somewhere below women's soccer or water polo. So where SMU, again, they wrote the book on teaching. As a child of the Southwest Conference, very familiar with the way that conference worked.
Educational institution of higher learning, Southern Methodist University.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey,
now they can do it.
We've graduated from there.
And the fact that they are in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously the academic requirements are a little tougher there.
Tougher.
I think that's the team that has the more upside of the three that joined.
It should be
Yeah,
interesting.
they're the ones that are improving. The other ones just are kind of struggling to maintain what they've been, which has also just been middling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
My-
when you look at the conference this year, I mean, I think Duke's going to be good. Manny Diaz is kind of a question mark, but they're going to be a 6-win team. Georgia Tech's kind of a crapshoot. You like
Some folks might sit there and take the first part of that word and not the full word, but yeah.
Well,
they're going to put them in two separate sentences. They're going to call them one thing and want to do the other.
I think Hayes King is a good quarterback. You
Mhm.
can build around. They've got some nice parts on offense and on defense. But I mean, that's a 7-win team. And I like the coach they've got now too. Miami probably going to be much better this year. I think Mario Cristobal is getting the players that he wants. It's just whether they're going to execute and whether they're going to buy in.
And make sure did you execute on the last play of the game too.
Right.
Yeah.
North Carolina, it's another Mac Brown team. And Mac Brown wants to finish the business that he started 30 years ago at North Carolina to get them as a consistent top 5 team in the country and playing for national championships. And he's 73 years old now. And it kind of still feels like the Carolina programs that he had the first time around. And now the rules have changed on him. So he's having to adjust on the fly. So time is not really on his side to get it done.
We'll figure it out. We will.
Yeah.
And then
on center this year, I think you're looking at a good but not great team.
exactly. I think they might
Same as it
ruin
ever was.
some seasons for a few teams, but again, and Pitt, I think they've got some issues there. Probably lucky to get 6 wins. Stanford, we've already talked about. Syracuse, a new coaching staff that is really impressing some people. But again, they've got a long way to go. Virginia, you just feel bad for them after Tony Elliott's first year and the fact that they lost a few players to a tragedy. It's really kind of hard for them to recover. I think everybody's rooting hard for Virginia to recover from that, but
Yeah,
they still got a ways to go. And Wake's going to win 7 games because
that's a lot of
They've
bowl
got-
eligible teams.
I like Dave Clawson a lot.
Everybody.
But Wake's a program that will maybe occasionally break into 10-win window, but settle in at 6 and 7 simply because of depth.
Moving on, we'll hit another a B conference, and B because they start with the letter B. And this time we're going to go with the Big 12, which I know is out of order because of the Big 10, but the Big 10 has more teams, I think. Or do they?
The Big 38, or I don't know.
Big
Yeah.
18,
Yes.
But anyway, we'll talk about
16 in the Big 12.
Yes.
We'll talk about the Big 12 because they're probably as closely related to the ACC as you can get in terms of compatibility conference-wise. A lot of very good teams. I don't know if there are any great teams there. The question becomes who's going to become the standout now that Texas and Oklahoma are gone. There are no big whales there. You're talking about maybe Utah, maybe Oklahoma State. Teams that have been extremely good at times, extremely not quite so good at others. You've got Arizona and Kansas State, both good programs. Arizona back on the upswing, and Kansas State's always been solid, rarely spectacular, but usually pretty good.
Bring back Mangino.
Don't tell Michael Bishop that though.
And then you've got the TCUs and West Virginias of the world, along with I can't believe I'm saying this after the run of poor football that Kansas played, but Kansas is kind of in the middle of the pack now.
Amazing what happens when you invest.
Well, Kansas
mean-
is probably better than that. I mean, I really
It's a
like
conference of
Lance
middle of the
Leipold.
pack teams, though.
Mm-hmm.
Well, therein lies the conundrum. I mean, losing Texas and Oklahoma, 2 heavyweights, does the combination of Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado make up for that? And the answer is really no. But you got a program in Utah that, look, this was the team in the Pac-12 before it went away. And you returned Cameron Rising, who coming off the injury, he's a winner. He's done great things for Kyle Whittingham's program.
And he started playing for them in 1999.
Doesn't matter. He's a 16-year veteran. He's still suiting up.
Bo Nix Jr.
The age of 34, Cam Rising.
And Kyle Whittingham pays attention to the line play. He's one of the few West Coast teams that does that. So I really like what Utah's doing.
They're a Big Ten style team in that conference.
Yeah.
And they've got some skilled players that can break away from you and can run you over. And so I like Utah a lot to win that league this year, with Kansas State just right behind them. Again, a team that's not going to wow you, but they've got really good players and they win games. So now, as far as the style of play of the Big 12, I think you got some really good teams in there. And I think this is going to be the most entertaining conference to watch because, Utah, it kind of separated itself a little bit. Maybe Kansas State has separated itself a little bit when you look at them on paper. But I think every game is going to be competitive. Maybe 2 or 3 games are going to be front and center on highlights simply because the games are either going to be 13-10 and something weird's going to happen, or they're going to be 64-56 and it's going to be offense all over the place. So you're going to have those style of games. It's really what I want to see as this league develops is, and again, there could be more teams that come into this league because Brent Yomark is open for business, as he says. I want to see how they would stack up against the SEC and the Big Ten. And if they can hold up their own, and I don't really count moral victories, but if they win games against those type of programs, then I think you clearly have a number 3 conference in the Big 12. And their commissioner is going to do whatever they can financially to make that happen. And I think, I think the Big 12 is in a much better position than the ACC in that regard.
Yeah, but if they don't do that, people are going to start looking at them like they're the American.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Conference USA. I mean, they need to hit the ground running this year, or they're going to be, it's going to be they're going to cut it from 4 conferences to 3 conferences considered.
I mean,
real playoff action.
I just see a lot of 7-5, 6-6, 5-7 teams here, and then maybe like Utah above everybody. And
I
then,
definitely agree with Utah.
And then maybe Kansas State at 8-4. But I see a lot of this to me is the conference of okay. It's like you got a lot of teams that are just okay. Kansas might be another one of those teams that's pushing 7 wins, maybe pushing 8 if something falls their way. But this to me is a conference of good, okay. Except with a few exceptions, it's just kind of like there.
So you're calling them the mid 12?
Yes, the mid. It is the mid.
I want to talk about somebody playing in the Big 12 this year that might be a little bit near and dear to Wilkie's heart, and that's KJ Jefferson
playing for Florida,
playing for Gus Malzahn at UCF. And Jefferson had been compared for several years to Cam Newton in terms of the physical attributes and what he brings to the game as a college football player. And now he's going to play for the guy who coached Cam Newton himself.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be very similar to the situation in Arkansas because he's going to be running in the shotgun a lot, and which is fine. I mean, that's where a lot of his gifts come from. His skill set comes from. He's a fantastic. I mean, he can throw the ball well. He's accurate. If he needs the run, he can. He's got the size to withstand the punishment. What I hope what Gus does is, stay in the pocket a little longer because he always seemed like he was getting ready. He didn't let the pressure come toward him. It was like he automatically knew his body clock was off, I guess.
Yeah.
But what really disturbed me, and I don't think this is going to help him any, is how many times did you see Arkansas last year on 4th and inches, and they're in the shotgun going for it?
Pound quarterback.
And if the 200, I can't tell you the number of times I was screaming at Sam Pittman and whoever that idiot offensive coordinator they had at the time, after Briles, Kendall Briles, Dan Enos. Why you got a guy that size in the shotgun? Just put him under center, snap the ball, let him fall down. He's got a first down. And I think that's going to be the same thing he's going to have at Central Florida. And that really stifled Arkansas's offense. And the fact that Rocket Sanders was hurt most of the year, so he didn't have that guy, that home run hitter behind him. So I think it's going to be more the same for KJ Jefferson. It's really what NFL scouts see in him this year, so he can play in the next level. But I honestly don't think he brings that much difference to UCF. Yeah, he's playing for Gus Malzahn, but what does that mean? I mean,
Yeah, what does he have around
Cam was
him?
a special athlete. Cam could be under center every now and then. I'm not sure KJ is at that level.
And who's he surrounded by? Does he have the guys in front of him that can make that initial push to get him to fall forward?
That.
Here, I'll give you guys another question to talk about here. A new team in the Big 12 moving over from the remnants of the Pac-12, now called the two-pack. Colorado and Coach Deion Sanders, can they even make any kind of an impact in this conference?
Not this year.
Sure, they're going to have like the best press conferences, but you know, the team chemistry of having a bunch of guys that just transferred in again and again, they're going to have trouble with culture. If stuff goes wrong early, they're going to implode.
All right. So
yeah, that's what I'm kind of afraid of with Colorado as well. But you know, even the opener they have against North Dakota State, that's not a gimme.
No,
it's in Boulder, but this is the
every available
1AA
ticket. I
champion.
guarantee you is going to be bought by the other team.
Mm-hmm.
If it hits SeatGeek or StubHub or any other, secondary market, is going to get bought out of one state.
No doubt.
And I mean, North Dakota State may not win the game, but they're going to soften Colorado.
They're going to make it work for it.
Because the next week they host Nebraska.
No, they go to Nebraska.
I'm sorry, they go to Nebraska. And that was one of the great rivalries in the late 80s and 90s. And the Matt Rule's team is much better than he's had since he's been in Nebraska. So
it's a left-handed compliment, though.
That to me, that's an L. And then you go to Fort Collins to play Colorado State, and you don't think the Rams are going to be up for that one. So staring at 0-3 is a possibility for Colorado. And then let's see what happens. I mean, the rest of they got Baylor, they go to UCF, they host K-State at Arizona. That's going to be a pit. They go to Lubbock, they host Utah. But what is that team going to look like?
Oh, Utah's going to smack the hell out
by
of them.
November. Yeah. And then you go to Kansas, and then you close with Oklahoma State in Boulder.
Nice.
So 0-3 is a possibility. Where is that team going to be then?
There's going to be a whole lot of finger pointing.
Oh, boy.
I'll throw one more team out to the floor here before we wrap things up for this episode of the review. And that's a team that's always pretty good, but rarely great. And that's the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They always seem to be on that short list of teams contending for the conference title, but they never quite push all the way through.
Take the over.
Yeah.
Well, that's because there were two teams called Oklahoma and Texas that were in their way, and they never could figure out how to win against them consistently.
Now that's not a concern.
Now that they're gone?
Take the over.
I hadn't really thought about it, but it sets up nicely for him.
Yeah. I mean, Ollie Gordon's back. He's one of the best running backs in the country. they've got an opportunity here. Can they take advantage of it in what's a much more evenly stacked deck?
Shoot themselves.
Oh
in
my
the-
God. Is there a
Well,
conference
you got
that's more
Alex
wide open
Bowman.
than that conference?
Alex Bowman is their quarterback who, if Oklahoma State throws the ball around, they win. And so they got a quarterback in place that can toss it around. And again, they got really good skill players. And they hosting South Dakota State. That's going to be a fun one to watch.
Take the over, brother.
And then they host Arkansas. And then they go to Tulsa. So yeah, 3-0 is a distinct possibility before they host Utah. That's their first conference game, September 21st.
No, South Dakota State, like the Jackrabbits, they're not a
Yes.
team to sleep on.
No, they're as good as North Dakota State.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a scary opener. My philosophy. I hate season openers in college football.
And especially a season opener against a staid power in 1AA
that has size.
Yeah,
and depth.
Team that you
But
may-
if they do get through if they do get through that 3-0, then September 21st against Utah, it just becomes an epic game for them, and that makes or breaks their season. Because then they have to go to Manhattan to play Kansas State. So yeah, that September is pretty huge for the Cowboys. And if they can get through that, then really their toughest game is at BYU on October 18th. Looking at the rest of the schedule, because they go to Baylor, they host Arizona State, host TCU, host Texas Tech, and their season against Colorado, and we don't know what kind of Colorado team we're going to see. So let's see what Oklahoma State is at September. If they have gone 3-0, got past Utah, and even if they had a hiccup against Kansas State, people are looking at OSU as probably that team in the Big 12 that'll represent them in the playoff. Now, is the Big 12 a one-bid league?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably. I don't see there being another team that's going to make that kind of a run where they're threatening to beat any of the big boys.
Yeah. So I'll go there.
Can't believe I'm saying one-bid league in college football.
Yep.
But here,
Acknowledgement.
For an expanded playoff.
Yeah. Expanded.
You got to get around the 4 SEC teams are going to be in there.
which is something that we will talk about, guys, next week.
Oh, tease it.
We've already been going for about an hour here on the review. We've talked previews. We
I hope
talked.
we talk college football, because if we were talking other things, we're in trouble.
We talked about cheaters too.
Not cheating, you're not trying, and it's only cheating if you get caught.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the old.
Step 1, don't turn in expense reports while cheating.
Don't leave a paper.
Not good.
I
Don't
believe
leave
the
a
term is don't leave a paper trail.
I'll leave a paper trail.
Okay, guys, let's wrap it up. We got to get on with the rest of the day. For Brother Marty, for Brother John, and Brother Wilkie, I am Brother Phil. We are the OSG Sports College Football Team. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will be back again next week where we'll talk SEC, Big Ten, and a whole bunch of other stuff as we rapidly approach the college football season. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and we will talk again to you soon. Bye.
That's still in a milk carton.
Please like and subscribe. And NCAA, grow some nuts and drop the hammer.